Here's a question for us here at Not Gospel. I am 20 years old, and I have been a Christian since I was little. My relationship with Jesus has gradually increased over the years, and it is the most important part of my life today. I love reading Christian books, listening to podcasts and sermons, journaling my prayers, listening to worship music, and having Bible studies with others. I love these things so much that it feels abnormal sometimes. Well, that's all good. My parents and friends are also Christians, but they don't seem to desire God the way that I do. In fact, I would consider my parents strong Christians. That was in quotes. I just feel like I love pursuing God more than the people around me, and it's confusing to me. I question and doubt if my experiences are even real because I feel like I don't know anyone close to me whose faith is as strong as mine. It's like I have to tone myself down sometimes when talking to people and giving advice to not come across as some weirdo Jesus freak. I guess I just enjoy praying, worshiping, and learning about God more than the people around me. I crave the feeling of being close to Him. Is that normal?
I wanted to see what you thought about that question in particular. I curated that one just for you.
I don't write this to sound self-righteous at all. I just feel isolated sometimes because it seems that no one around me desires Jesus as I do. I mean, I literally listen to sermons for fun almost every day, and I feel like that sounds super boring to the other people. People I follow on social media seem to love Jesus as much as I do, but I am not close to anyone in real life whose faith is so important to them. I am scared that I won't be able to find a husband who loves Jesus just as much as I do. I don't really know exactly what I'm asking you, but I just want to know your thoughts on this. Have you ever felt this way? What should I do? Thanks, sincerely, feeling alone in my faith.
That was a really long question, but I thought it was interesting.
It feels like, what do I do in this situation? All right, I'm not going to try to be irreverent or disrespectful to this person, but it definitely sounds so like, look at how godly I am. That kind of question. And they said they're being very sincere, and it's like, I love God, and I want to pray more, and I was, all this stuff, and that's all great.
Yeah.
I listen to sermons in my downtime. That's all fantastic. But then it's like, but nobody else around me loves God as much as I do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it sounds like this person is either A, surrounding themselves with people that don't have a genuine faith experience, or they literally, I hate to say this, but to be super critical, it sounds like it would be like an attention grab almost. Like, look at me, I love God so much. And I don't want, like, again, I'm just interpreting this question as I see it. That's a part of me that I'm just going to be honest about it. It's a little judgmental, but it's like almost braggadocious. Like, I love God so much.
If I can say this, your mom said something to me once about some girl that you had encountered at some point. I don't know. And she said she was too heavenly minded to be too earthly good. Any earthly good.
Well, okay, and so
that quote just kind of reminded me of that.
It reminds me of that too. But I'd also say this: it's like when she says she sees people on social media that seem to be as sold out about God as I am. You got to know that social media and the internet and all that's the highlight reel.
Yeah,
that is not their real life. That's not who people really are. Most people don't air out all of their dirty laundry on social media and stuff unless they're just looking for attention. It's like those are the parts people hide from social media and all that stuff, and they just give you the good stuff. I just love God, and here's your daily devotional every single day. Like, so comparing yourself and your loved ones to things you see online and people who portray themselves a certain way online, I think is dangerous. I don't think that's good.
Well, and then also, how are you demonstrating your love with God? Like, does the activities you're engaging in, watching speakers online and stuff like that, is that necessarily you engaging in love with God? Or is her parents doing that also by living their lives, providing for their family, stuff like that?
Well, and here's the thing. My thought is, if you're that, my question would be this: what are you doing in your community? What are you doing to get people closer to God?
Yeah.
What are you doing for outreach? I'm not trying to be judgy. I'm just being honest. Like, if you're that sincere about God and you're that like passionate about God and His kingdom, that, in my opinion, will manifest in fruit, in bearing fruit. And we've talked about that before. And I don't think you can judge being all about God by how many sermons you listen to or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I want to say for my own personal life, I think because I grew up around some people that weren't not nice people. And it made it a bad living environment sometimes. And I crave peace. Like, I just love peace and calmness and stuff. And when I get in environments that aren't like that, it's very difficult for me. And I've been in work situations where the people weren't very nice, and it gave me really bad anxiety. And I don't handle being around not nice people very well.
And yet here you are.
But, and I know going forward, if I'm going to be in a work situation, I want to work for a library or a church or just somewhere where the atmosphere suits me. And so while I would say to her, she probably might need to engage in life a little more than online and reading, that if she just knows her atmosphere and she is an intellectual and wants to go to Bible college and that's the atmosphere she wants to be in, more power to you.
That's a good point. So she may have a calling. God may be putting a calling on her life. And not everybody around her has that calling, so they're not going to be called to that depth of service and that depth of response to God. If that's the case, I again would judge it by fruit. Yeah, it's like if you have a calling like that, God's giving you that reason, that calling. The reason He's giving you that calling, that desire, is to further the kingdom, is to expand the kingdom, is to grow the kingdom. That's it. There's no other reason. Life
does seem to go in phases. Yeah. If she's in a phase in life where she's taking in, it might be because later she'll be pouring out. So, I mean, it could be she's completely fine, on the right track. Go for it.
That could be the case. And if it is, it's like don't expect your story to be your family's story.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't expect your story to be their journey, and you're not the main character in their story. You're the main character in your own story.
Yeah.
I would withhold judgment from everybody, like you're not reading your Bible enough, then you could do more damage than good, but it's like, before I got all wrapped up in how much I love God and how excited I am for all these, that's great. It's like, well, how does that translate to fruit for the kingdom? Start figuring out how to translate that to fruit versus I'm just feeding myself and I'm just like feasting on the Lord. That's fantastic. It needs to translate to fruit for the kingdom if you're really diving deep with God.
This is not someone asking a Christian question.
Okay.
This is a secular person who does not like Christians asking a question.
All right, secular person who hates my guts. I'm ready for this one.
Yeah.
I've encountered one or two of those bad boys.
Okay. My partner's family are fairly religious, church every Sunday, religious art, religious music in their homes, while he and I are not. I've never overly stated my religious beliefs to them. I'm agnostic, but definitely not Christian. And my partner and I believe that they think that I'm still somewhat religious, just less so than him. We are a straight couple in our late 20s and 30s and live completely independently from them, though my partner is fairly close to his family and we live nearby. My problem is it's almost a verbal tick for them to say things like, I'm praying for you or Jesus saves to me. And everyone, when any sort of issue, large or small, comes up and it's starting to really grate on me. I don't at all push my lack of religion on them, and I do not believe that Jesus will help us find a new house. Can I gently ask them to knock this off? I have some other unrelated tensions with them, so I've hesitated to bring this one up. Is it worth it or should I just suck it up?
This is a super short answer in my opinion.
What?
Super short answer.
Okay.
He has every right to tell him, hey, I don't appreciate it. All the religious innuendo and the Jesus saves and all that. I don't appreciate that, and it's starting to rub me the wrong way. I'm not religious. Can you please refrain from that? This person, I guess, because they said they're a straight couple. This person can totally ask that. Yeah. Totally ask that. I would just say that a reminder here is that the reason this family is saying all those things, it may not be just because they assume you're religious. Like, that's a wrong assumption. It may be because they know you're not religious and they are concerned for your salvation. And if they really love you, here's the deal. If a Christian really loves you, I have people who are agnostic, atheist in my life. If I really genuinely love them, I cannot love them without having concern for their spiritual condition. Period. I can't love you without being concerned about where you're going to spend eternity. That's not real love. It's like, I believe there's a heaven and a hell. This person's family, if they're a Christian, believe there is a heaven and a hell, and you're going to spend eternity one or the other of those places. And if they really love you, they are going to look for opportunities to gently nudge Jesus' ideology to you. They're just going to do it. And they have every right to do that.
Yeah.
But you have every right to ask them to quit.
That doesn't mean they have to or will, though.
Doesn't mean they have to or will. That's on them.
Yeah, I just feel like it depends on how they're doing it and their intentions behind it. If it's just their natural conversation, if they're the kind of people who pray about things a lot and they're just like, oh, that's going on, we'll pray about it for you. And then it moves on in the conversation, I kind of think you're overblowing things. But if it is like almost witnessing to them on a constant basis, yeah, have that conversation.
Yeah. In my opinion, it doesn't mean they have to stop.
Yeah. Let's flip it. In your situation, you had someone that was, a partner to your child, and their salvation was important to you. How aggressively do you think witnessing is appropriate?
But what she was saying is like not, or this what this
Yeah, it
person was
wasn't
saying
even
is not
really
aggressive.
No, not at
And
all.
that's why I'm like, gosh, you were just nitpicking.
I kind of feel like she just doesn't like
It's
him.
like, yeah, it's like we'll pray for you on that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a way of being like, do you mind if we pray for you over that situation?
Yeah.
But if they said no, all that would stop me from doing is praying for them right then and there. They have no control of what I do in my private life, so I'll go home and pray for them if I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to give this person power over my private life. I don't tell them, hey, you can't say this about me when you're by yourself. You know what?
But say you had witness to someone and then they had the conversation with you. That made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Would you do it again or just not as overtly?
I'd be like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to be uncomfortable. I probably would apologize. I don't want to offend somebody. Explain where the heart of it came from. If I care about you, I'm going to care about your spiritual condition. It is what it is. I've had that conversation, and then people have said to me, well, you don't have to worry about saving me. I'm good. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I keep on living my other life, which includes what this person refers to as tics, which includes I'll be in prayer about that. That kind of thing. Like, we're praying for you guys. I'm sick. We're praying for you guys. What else you want me to do? I'm sick. Well, we'll have some chicken noodle soup in your honor.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
that was a little aggressive. But
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I want to say, you told me a story last week that cracked me up about the Atlantean. But the thing is, you see, okay, so Clifton met this guy on a plane who's an Atlantean.
Eddie's an Atlantean, and he's currently in the body of a 60-year-old man or 50-something-year-old man named Eddie, who's omnigender. Eddie is all genders,
Okay.
man and woman together. Because the original Atlantean, if I'm not mistaken, the original Atlantean that he is possessed by was female or had the ability to change in and out of the sexes.
But what I liked about that story is you let him witness to you first. Like, you gave him a good chance.
I let him roll, and I egged it on. I was like, so how do you know? When you're born, do you know that this, I am in this body of this personage, but this is not who I am? Like, like I was asking him questions because I was curious.
Yeah.
And when the moment happened, after he tried to recruit me as a religious leader, he's like, I think you have the Atlantean spirit. You'd be a great, like prophet or whatever, and a big leader, evangelical leader for Atlanteans. And I was like, well, I have to stop you there and let you know that I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. He saves, and he's the savior of my life and heart. And then I just started rolling with him about the ways God has communicated with me in my life, and et cetera, et cetera. And he probably looked at me like, what a loon. But I don't care. We were just a couple of loonies side by side.
People would think that.
Listen to these two idiots talking about their religion.
They probably think that still. But I'd like how you are fair and balanced at stuff. Like, you'll let people give you their opinion.
Yeah.
Witness to you also.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. And nothing irks me more than when I've given somebody a space for the room for their opinion, and they've stated it. And not only that, but I'm listening. I'm not sitting there just waiting for my time to talk. I'm listening to it because I want to give them the space to adequately present their view. So then when mine comes, it can't be, well, you only said that because you misunderstood what I said or you didn't listen to me. It's like, no, I listened.
Okay, so this woman appears to be completely non-Christian.
Yes.
And sometimes I think...
in my opinion, she appears aggressively non-Christian.
Yeah. Non-religious people think that religious people's brains can just it's like a light switch or something. Like, well, you're not at church. It's time to quit thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't vote with your politics. You shouldn't, like, church should not influence that
It's
stuff.
a load of crap, in my opinion.
Yeah, they don't know how ingrained it gets in you.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, like the morality and stuff.
Yeah.
Every part of your life.
Yeah, it's supposed to. If you have a. C.S. Lewis says it like this: Christianity is either the most important thing on the planet because it's real,
Yeah,
or it's the least important thing on the planet. It's all hogwash.
yeah.
What it can't be is kind of important, which is what a lot of people make it. It's my Sunday shirt that I wear.
Yeah.
And then I go back to living how I live or whatever and caring about what I care about. And it's like, if you really, really genuinely believe it, if you get a really big dose of holy crap, Jesus was who he said he was, he's the savior of my life, I want to tell the world about him because eternity is real.
It's going to affect how you raise your family and how you vote in your politics.
It's going to affect what you stand for in your life. It's going to affect every single day. Yeah. Your integrity in every situation. Because like he said, it's the most important thing there is. Of course you're going to talk about it. Of course it's going to come up in daily conversation.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, even the scriptures say, whatever you're doing, do it to the glory of the Lord. Mm-hmm. So it's like, there's got to be a God-glorifying way to do anything. To go order something at the drive-thru, there's a God-glorifying way to do it. To work your job, there's a God-glorifying way to do it. So much witnessing happens in the workplace, and a lot of workplaces have rules against talking about your religion at work. My wife is like that. So if somebody asks, if a patient, or I guess they call them patients or clients, however, at her work asks something religious or whatever, she can talk about church, she can talk about Jesus, she can engage in a conversation, but somebody else has to bring it up.
That would be so hard.
Yeah.
My hope for this person's situation is that she finds the family important enough to her that she's going to bring it up and have that awkward conversation.
Yeah.
And that in that awkward conversation, the people are good enough people and mean things genuinely enough that they reach out to her and explain their heart, and that they can all become closer through it. You know.
Well, let's look at the possible scenarios. There's one horrible scenario where she doesn't like the people. They don't like her either, and they're trying to push her out of his life.
Yeah.
They see her as a bad influence.
I'm not hoping for that situation.
They see her as a bad influence. So they're just trying to make it awkward, trying to push her out of his life. So then she's going to blow up, and they'll be like, "See, we told you she was evil." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the possible scenarios. I'm not rooting for that one either. I hope that's not the case.
But Christians aren't perfect. It could just be, they might say something wrong.
The best possible scenario, I think, is that they genuinely are concerned for this person's salvation. They love her so very, very much, and she's forever linked with their son. Mm-hmm. And so, best possible scenario is she has that conversation, and they get to share her heart with them, or share their heart with her. Say, look, we love you, and this is a part of our life, and it's going to continue to be, and we can try to be sensitive to that, but know that from our position, the more we love you, the more we're going to care about where you spend eternity.
Yep.
Here's our last question for the day. I think it's our last question. I just got my first tattoo on my arm where everyone can see. I walk into my church, however, and everyone just looks at me as if I have the plague. Are tattoos not a good thing to have as a Christian? What should I do about the situation? Sincerely, John Doe. We've kind of talked about this a little bit, and I do feel the way I do. But I want to get your opinion on it. What do you think about that?
I get to have an opinion?
You always get to have an opinion, but I just feel like you're sitting there chomping at the bit to hear mine. Like, let's go so I can brutalize it.
No, I think how I'm looking at it is from the first fact that it's probably not a sin. Okay. And then the second fact I'm looking at it from is sometimes in churches, people assume when you become a Christian, you're not out doing the worldly things you were before. And that's where they think you usually get most of your tattoos, when you're out partying and stuff. Yeah. And so maybe they think, oh, he's out in the world living a lifestyle that we wouldn't approve of. Maybe that's what the looks are about, not necessarily just that, oh, it's tattoos a sin. Like maybe they think he's out partying and stuff.
I mean, that could be it. I mean, the thing is, when you get a tattoo, you have to know that you do, and I have them. I got 5 or something like that. You do box yourself into a certain demographic, especially one that people can see. If you get a tattoo that people can see, then you're the kind of person who gets tattoos. Yep. That comes with its own stigmas and judgmentalism, sure. But my thing about right or wrong, what do I do about the situation? Well, it was interesting the way he explained it. I just got my first tattoo on my forearm where everybody can see. Now, either that's his first tattoo that everybody can see, or it's his first tattoo ever, and he got it on his forearm where everybody can see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he's covered in tattoos other places or got tattoos that nobody can see, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like it's about the intent of the heart. If you got this specifically just to be seen, just to draw attention to yourself, the Bible talks expressly against that kind of thing. It doesn't mean it's some unforgivable deal, you know what I mean? But it talks expressly against just adorning your body just to draw unnecessary attention, to feed your pride. You know, if this person was getting this tattoo just to be seen and just to get gawked at, well, mission accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Like, voila, this is what it looks like.
Voila.
Yeah. But, poof, it's like magic. Imagine that. I got this tattoo where everybody can see, and all of a sudden people are looking at it and treat me different. But if this person didn't get that tattoo to be seen, if they got it because it meant something to them or whatever, I think just open yourself to the fact that you may have to have conversations with some of those people that look at you different.
Well,
You go up to them and be like, I've noticed a little bit. Honestly, I felt a little uncomfortable since I got my tattoo. Does it bother you? Why? Can we talk about it?
well, at the end, his last sentence was like, "What? Everybody's looking at me. Did I do something wrong? Is it a sin?" Like, that's basically where he went with it.
Yeah.
And does he judge what's right and wrong based on what his society views is right and wrong, and not necessarily God? You know.
Or he maybe he doesn't know. Maybe I can't remember if he said that he had been a Christian a long time, or this person said they've been a Christian a long time, or whatever. Maybe he's confused. He's like, is it genuinely bad for Christians to get a tattoo? I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, that could be sincerely what's going on. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. And my opinion is, no, it's fine. But you do have to read the room you're in. You know, some people won't like it.
In my opinion, you and I are astray on varying paths on this, and that I do feel like it's the intent of the heart. Like, I don't care how good a Christian you are or not. I feel like if you could put a tattoo on you just to be seen, to draw attention to it, I feel like that's probably something you got to talk to God about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus, like, I got this Aslan tattoo on my arm, and it covers my entire shoulder. If you haven't seen that, there it is. Voila. You know, I'm ID'd forever. The guy with the...
Voila.
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 The Jewish version.
You can't put that in?
Now kosher. Voila.
Was that racist?
No, because according to Whoopi Goldberg, remember?
Oh my goodness.
I've had a lot of conversations about God from this tattoo, because they'll see the bottom where it says Aslan, and they'll say, "Oh, what's that? Is that from like Lion? What's that Aslan?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, it's the lion." I'll show it up from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. In that series, it represents Jesus, and it's a great way. It was kind of a cartoon sort of fantasy way to talk about God and tell your kids about God. And
When they killed that lion at the end, it was worse than the Passion of the Christ.
not for me. It wasn't worse than the Passion, but
It was equal.
I did tear up.
Yeah.
Anyways, moral of the story. I've had a lot of conversations. I don't know if it's rendered any fruit for the kingdom, if it's made people think about God or whatever, but I've had conversations about God through this tattoo. I got it personally. I didn't care if anyone ever saw it. Didn't care, you know? So, and I think that way about tattoos. If you're getting it for you personally, and you don't care if anyone ever sees it or ever notices it, that's different than getting it in the hopes that somebody's going to gawk at it.
I can guarantee you, if I lived on a desert island by myself, I would be so tatted up. I'd be giving them to myself with a stick.
You do the old school thing with the ink and the... I can see you now, like, holding...
It'd be on my face. It'd be 40 times worse because nobody could see it.
You know, it'd be great if you were on an island by yourself, is putting some kind of tic-tac-toe game or something on your arm that you could erase over and over and whatever. You know, it'd be great. You could tattoo yourself to keep track of your days.
No.
Yeah, you could do like 5 and you just
That's
have it
awful.
all over you. I've been here. How long have you been? Well, read me. Thank you guys for catching this episode of the Not Gospel Podcast. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to watch out for new Not Gospel Studios content, including Big Little Church clips every single week, releasing on Mondays every week. And keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.